I'm Cassidy.
Standing in the middle of my sister's chaotic wedding reception, I watched as the truth-eyed, uncovered shattered the carefully constructed facade of my family. My mother's face was a mask of panic, and my father's bluster had vanished as the evidence of their decades-long deception was laid bare before everyone. It was a moment I'd both dreaded and anticipated, the culmination of a journey that had started with a simple rejection. Growing up, I was always the odd one out in my family. My younger sister, Lily, was the apple of my parents' eyes. My father, Mr. Thompson, a strict and traditional banker, and my mother, Mrs. Thompson, a social climbing woman obsessed with appearances, doted on Lily. With her blonde hair and blue eyes, Lily fit the mold of the perfect daughter, while my dark hair and green eyes made me stand out like a sore thumb. As a web designer working for a small firm in the city, I thought I'd found my place in the world. But my parents always made it clear that my career was nothing compared to Lily's job as a high-flying stockbroker. "Cassidy, you should aim higher," my mother would sneer. "Look at Lily. She's making a name for herself, while you're stuck in that little office." These comments chipped away at my self-esteem over the years. Then, Lily announced her engagement to Ethan, a wealthy entrepreneur. My parents were over the moon. The wedding planning became the center of our family universe, and I tried to be a supportive sister, even though I was constantly overlooked. I helped with the preparations, but I was always on the sidelines, never getting the credit or recognition I deserved. 6 months before the wedding, Lily held an engagement party at our parents' beach house. I spent days helping to decorate and set up, but when the night came, I was made to feel like an outsider. I wore a simple, elegant dress I'd saved up for, while Lily arrived in a designer gown that cost a fortune. Throughout the party, I was introduced as Lily's sister, never by my own name. And when it came to the speeches, I wasn't even asked to say a few words. In the following weeks, I noticed that I hadn't received a save, the date card for the wedding. I called Lily, and she claimed it must have been lost in the mail. As the months went by, it became clear that I wasn't going to be a part of the bridal party. When I asked about it, my mother said, "Cassidy, you know Lily wants her college friends and Ethan's sister in the party. There just isn't room." It felt like a slap in the face, but I tried to brush it off. I even offered to design the wedding invitations as a gift. I spent weeks working on different concepts, but when I presented them to my mother and Lily, they said they didn't have the wow factor. 2 weeks later, I saw the invitations on Lily's social media, and they looked exactly like my third design. 3 months before the wedding, I went to my parents' house to drop off some things and saw a stack of wedding invitations on the table. My name wasn't on any of them. I called my mother, and she delivered the ultimate blow. We all agreed. "You're not welcome at the wedding." She said I always tried to steal Lily's spotlight and that I might cause a scene on her big day. I was devastated, but it also made me start asking questions. My friend, Amy, noticed how upset I was and suggested that there might be more to the story. She said, "Cassidy, you don't look like anyone in your family. Have you ever thought about that?" That got me thinking. 2 months before the wedding, my grandmother, who had always been kind to me, called and asked for help sorting through her things as she was moving to a smaller place. While rummaging through the attic, I found a locked trunk. The key was taped to the bottom, and inside was a leather-bound album labeled Family Secrets. When I showed it to my grandmother, her face paled, and she tried to take it away from me. But I was too curious. That night, I opened the album in my apartment. It contained photos of my mother when she was young, with a man I didn't recognize. They looked in love, and the man had my coloring. As I turned the pages, I pieced together the story. My mother had had a relationship with this man before she married my father. She got pregnant, and the man, a successful business tycoon named Mr. Blackwood, was engaged to someone else. He offered financial support, but the relationship ended. I also found letters that indicated that Mr. Blackwood had set up a trust fund for me, but my parents had been diverting the money for their own use and Lily's expenses. They had even falsified my birth certificate to make it look like my father was my biological father. I ordered a DNA test, and it confirmed my suspicions. I wasn't Mr. Thompson's daughter. I reached out to Mr. Blackwood, and he was shocked to learn that I existed. He said my mother had told him she'd terminated the pregnancy. He also had no idea about the trust fund payments that my parents had been making it seem like he was responsible for. Over the next few weeks, Mr. Blackwood and his legal team investigated further. They discovered that my maternal grandfather, who had been a wealthy business owner, had set up the original trust fund for me. My parents had been using forged documents to access the money and had been living off it for years. As the wedding day approached, Mr. Blackwood managed to secure an invitation as a family friend. He asked me if I wanted to expose the truth at the wedding. Part of me was scared, but I knew I couldn't let the lies continue. On the day of the wedding, as the ceremony ended and the reception started, I confronted my mother in the restroom. I told her I knew about Mr. Blackwood, the trust fund, and the lies. She was furious at first, trying to deny everything and then offering me money to leave. But I stood my ground. Later, during the reception, Mr. Blackwood and I approached my parents and Ethan's parents. We presented the evidence, and the truth came out. Lily was stunned, and she realized that she'd been a part of a web of lies. 6 months after the wedding, my life has changed dramatically. My parents faced legal consequences for their fraud, and their social standing was ruined. Lily and I are slowly rebuilding our relationship. We've realized that we were both victims of our parents' deception. Mr. Blackwood introduced me to his wife and my half-siblings, and they've welcomed me into the family with open arms. Professionally, I've started my own web design business with the support of Mr. Blackwood's connections. I'm now hosting a cozy dinner at my new apartment, surrounded by my newfound family and friends. It's a far cry from the lonely and rejected feeling I had before. I've learned that sometimes the most painful experiences can lead to the discovery of the truth and the creation of a new, more authentic family. The past may have shaped me, but I'm now in control of my future.